welcome to Got a Lot in Our Minds. My name is Stevie B. You can follow me at StevieB_pod. That's on Instagram. On Twitter, I'm Stove11890. And on Google, my name is Christopher J. Smelly. Just kidding. That was a lame joke. I apologize. My co-host.
What's good is Kels. Look, even Frank came in after that joke and was like, nah, bro. Nah. But you know where you can find me at Kels55, pretty much on everything. And obviously follow the podcast. Got a lot on our minds. And on Twitter, what is it again? Is it just Gloom_pod?
I believe it's Gloom_pod. If you just search like Got a Lot in Our Minds, it pops up. So don't even worry about the handle. Just search the title of the show and you'll be good.
You'll be good. Then we have our movie critic that we film
cinema
man of the. This is a terrible intro. I am so sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
This is my boy Andreas.
We're trying to be relaxed over here. Yeah.
Yeah. So Andreas, how you doing? What's good?
I'm good. I'm excited for round 2. I'm sitting in a more comfortable chair this time. I'm not sitting on my suitcase. Excited to be back and talk to you guys about movies and, whatnot, whatever is on our minds, as you said. If you guys didn't remember me from last time, my name's Andreas. I got IG at AndreasYCW, and my website's also the same, but it's AndreasYCWU, my full last name.com. You can see my portfolio there, my films, my photos. Actually, no, that's wrong. My film portfolio is on my website. My photos are on my IG. Just so these kids, they got everything now, so I gotta adapt to what everyone's on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's right. For anyone who follows the show, Andreas was on episode 20, and when at the end of episode 20, we dubbed him the official Got a Lot on Our Minds cinema film aficionado, critic, go-to, homie. So that's why he's back, because there were 2 movies that came out, and like a TV series too, if we want to get into that type of shit.
That's true.
I guess like 2 TV series. Anyway, that's why he's back. And Chris, am I correct that he's the first reoccurring guest? Like he is the first, right?
Yep.
So I feel honored.
Shout out him.
Honored.
That's the homie.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Follow him, support his work.
Yeah,
and all that good jazz.
We're on this creative sphere, so we want to keep it going and just talk some movies. And even
I actually just remembered. I just remembered. What was it? We are critics without credentials. That's
yes,
there
sir.
we go.
I remember.
Yes,
that.
sir.
Yeah.
Critics,
especially me. Especially me. You two have technically diplomas. All right.
That don't mean. Sorry. That don't mean. Excuse my French. That don't mean shit. I'm sorry. No.
Nothing.
No. It's a bachelor's, maybe a graduate degree, but we're all in the same hustle here. We're trying to make some money. Be creative, have fun.
Listen, I hope no one who ever is going for a film degree at St. John's ever stumbles across like Chris Kelly, because all he does for the last 7 years is just shit all over that program, and they're gonna be like, well, I have to rethink my life choice because that's not what I want. That's not what I'm doing.
I will badmouth St. John's to any and everybody.
There were a few, like it's diamonds in the rough with some professors.
Absolutely.
I can agree with Chris there. It's not like USC or NYU, but you do make connections, and my best advice is learn on your own. Take the textbook, do the fundamentals, but make your own connections and learn the shit on your own if you're there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The one thing about St. John's, and obviously, as everyone knows, I did not go to school there, but I was there frequently on campus. I was there.
Yes, you were.
I was enrolled in school, and I was in St. John's at more than I was my own school, which is why I had to go back to college at 26, but so on and so forth. The one thing that fucking pissed me off about St. John's was the check-in process for a guest.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it was, and I understand it. You need protocols. Things have happened probably in the past, and there's like if you make the wrong turn, you're in a rough part of Queens, and I get all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there were times like I would check in to a dorm like as a guest, and they'd have to come down, they beep you in or whatever, and then you walk in. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot my laptop in my car, and then you'd walk out, and I'm wearing the same clothes I was 15 minutes ago, and then you go to walk back in, and the guy's like, you need to check in. I'm like, bro, you just signed me in. Like, you just signed me in.
They're half asleep most of the time, probably. Yeah. They don't remember anybody.
Oh, man, that was the worst.
And then you had like pretty much like you could only have guests, like I don't even know what it was, but like it was just very strict with how many guests you could have in a semester, and like once you're done with it, like it's not like you can get more.
I mean, that's why like it became more of a commuter school. Yeah, sure they had dorms, but everyone couldn't wait to get out, make some money, like live in a different house. I remember going to Chris's place across the Grand Central, and just hanging out and, having that freedom was just liberating.
Yeah, it was a lot nicer because you could just come and go as you please. You don't have to worry about who you have over and how long they can stay, and you just chill and enjoy it.
Yeah, word.
But
so, I'm sorry. Who's?
No, yeah, I was gonna segue into. Do we want to start on anyone in particular? Are we feeling?
I was gonna say this episode is like sponsored by like HBO Max, so
yes.
Even though we're not actually sponsored by them, but we're gonna talk about all their stuff.
I will forewarn everybody.
You guys don't have a code or something? We can, like 30-day subscription? No?
So if you go to HBO Max / / got a lot
Gloom.
on our minds / gloom, if you put in the code Steve is a degenerate / Chris is a great human, you get HBO Max for $15.99 a month, which I think is the actual price.
It's a great deal. You can't beat it.
Yeah.
I'll just forewarn everybody, if you've gotten this far and you haven't seen the two movies that we're going to talk about, which is the Snyder Cut and Godzilla vs Kong, probably just skip this episode and watch those two movies and then come back and listen to it, because we're going to have a lot of spoilers, so that's just a forewarning. And if you keep listening and you haven't seen them, I am sorry if we ruin anything for you.
If you haven't seen them, just like DM me and I'll give you Chris's login HBO Max.
Yeah, of course. We're all friends earlier.
Okay.
So I guess let's go in like chronological, or whatever. The first one I guess that came out was
the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, the Snyder Cut, Justice League. So I haven't seen it.
So
no,
he's gonna.
Oh really?
No, I'm kidding.
Man, yeah. Spell gullible for me, please.
We're gonna lose You're gonna lose 4 hours of us talking about it.
No, I think it took me 3 to 5 business days to complete that movie.
It took me 4. It took me 4 hours, and then I watched it again at night.
Chris, you start because you've seen the thing like 17 times. So go ahead.
Yes,
it's
please.
10 to be exact. And before anybody like jumps down my throat, like why would you watch that 10 times? The first time was like fully through, and then the rest I'll just put it in the background while I'm editing something like photos, just to have like background noise. And the parts that I like, I'll like really pay attention to, but then it's just there. But now that I got that out of the way, yeah. So obviously for people who don't know, this movie came out, I think, in 2017 as Joss Whedon's version of what Zack Snyder had filmed, but he didn't get to finish it because of his daughter who passed away. So he took over, and he, instead of like kind of following Snyder's notes for the ending for the editing process, he kind of filmed some new stuff and really like changed the whole thing. And it also had to be in a 2-hour window because that's what the studio wanted. So I mean, that's like one thing that I'll have in his favor. But then there was also like the reports that he was just being a real piece of shit to people on set. So obviously, as it was, everybody kind of like what happened with Deadpool. People were campaigning for the Snyder Cut, and it really didn't pick up steam, I think, really until the pandemic. And then, being that everything was at like a standstill, then it started to pick up steam, and we finally got it. And what I will say to start off is that it was everything that I wanted in a movie, especially coming from DC, because it's kind of like it was able to have that darker mood. There was cursing allowed. And yeah, I'll start off there. I was just very blown away by how different this felt. It was obviously 2 hours longer, but it just, to me, there was very little from the other movie that kind of like, and even just like where things were made more sense in this cut.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely a lot more full. Sure, not every movie can be, 4 hours long. I mean, you can't. It's hard for the current culture of like movies and entertainment in general, just for people to sit still for like for more than a minute. So, movies now, films, it's hard for people to like keep people's attention. And I think, yeah, it was a film that was more full, and it definitely checked off a lot of the boxes for the fans too.
I'll tell you what I enjoyed, and that's a great point, Andreas, because that was one of my points I want to talk about. That you have this, I forget what they call this current day and age with the attention span, that it's like instant gratification, that, like everyone wants TikTok. TikToks are 10 seconds to a minute, or sometimes smaller than that. It's very quick. You move from thing to thing to thing to thing. And to make something it's like 4 hours and 12 minutes, right? Whatever. Let's say
4-2.
Oh, is it 4-2? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 4 hours. Like that's a long sit through, and that's very ballsy to put something out, I think, that long, with the stigma of attention spans nowadays. But I think the smart thing that they did was Zack Snyder or whatever, is they did like parts. So there's like part 1, it stops, and like part 2, it's like not stops, but it breaks it up.
Yeah.
So I was watching it with my wife, and we finished part 3, and she was like, all right, like I'm tired. Like I need to go to bed. And I was like, okay, cool. This is perfect. So we know exactly where to pick up the next day and where to start. And I was talking with a friend of mine, and he like has a busy schedule, and he's like, I don't have like 4 hours to sit down and watch a movie most of the time. I said, perfect. Yeah, you got 30 minutes here and there. You can watch the parts. Just watch part 1, shut it off. Next time you get it, watch part 2, shut it off. I said, and you'll break this up for yourself, but you'll eventually get to it. But I think it says something that it's 4 hours long in today's like day and age of like attention spans. Yeah. And everyone watched it, and then now the Snyderverse, like people want more 4 hour movies from this guy. Like they want that again, just more of it. So I think that says something.
I think it's funny because coming from me, who's somebody who sat down and watched it for the full 4 hours at one sitting, there's some movies where you feel like it's like it's dragging. It's like 2-3 hours, and it feels long.
That's what everyone said about The Irishman. I haven't seen it, but everyone said it feels fucking long.
For some reason, this movie didn't feel long at all. Like I looked down at my clock one time, and I was like, "Yo, 2 hours went by already." And I was like, I feel like I'm just getting into it, and it just went quick for me. I don't know about you, Andreas. I think you watched it in. Did you watch it all at once, or?
I felt like I could have watched it all at once, but the fact that I had to talk about something urgent with my girlfriend on the phone, and like it was at the 2 hour mark. I was like, all right, because like you said, Steve, you can split it, and I was like, all right, give me like 15 minutes. I'm almost done with part 2. I'll pause it, and then we talked for a bit, and I finished the other 2 hours afterwards. But after hearing about it being 4 hours, I was like, all right, I gotta plan my day. I was like, all right, I'm gonna set some food up. All right, block off my time. Nothing's gonna happen today. Just gonna sit on my couch, enjoy it. Crank up the volume. Luckily, my apartment, the way the structure is all like set up, like no one can hear anything. I could blast like DMX, rest in peace, like super loud, no one would be able to hear me next door, downstairs, and I'm on the top floor, so no one's on the roof. But, I fully immersed myself because, I like comic book movies. And, I like it for the action. I wouldn't say it's like, the most, it doesn't fulfill like my like movie mind as in storytelling and I guess no, it's good stories, but it's more like it's not something that makes me think. If I'm watching like an Oscar movie, I don't want to like categorize it, but something like off the top of my head, like Tenet, Revenant, from those type of movies that make you think a bit more. It's one of these movies that just allows me just to shut my brain off and just enjoy it for what it is and its action. I'm a somewhat strong DC fan. I grew up with Batman, and I don't know the universe totally as some other people do, but I'll Wikipedia the references sometimes, as the movie's playing. So I'll just, go through it. And this movie really was, like Chris said, it didn't feel long because, there were parts where you would be like, yearn for more. And there are some movies where I'll be like, I'll look at the timeline and I really hope this movie's not going to end yet. And when I came to that part in this movie, I was like, oh, great, there's like another hour and a half left. I can watch more.
Do you ever do that sometimes? Because I'm the only person who does it, but Andreas, you brought up a good point. Kind of like watch movies. There'll be time where like I'm watching a movie and I'm like, this is good, man. I really hope they like flesh out the ending, and then you check and there's like 10 minutes left, and you're like,
yeah,
that's gonna suck. They're gonna wrap it up really fucking quick.
They're gonna rush through this shit.
Yeah.
The TV shows have done that to me. I mean, like, this will probably be a subject for a different time or different episode, but the most recent ones, me watching WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, those episodes are a little shorter. And like they're getting to a really good part, or like there's like this crazy reference, and then I look, it's like 5 minutes left. I was like, what? And with those and with the new Marvel TV shows, the credits are 5 minutes long. So I'm like,
yeah,
all right, I guess it's over. That. Yeah,
and they always leave you on like that cliffhanger because they want you to tune in next. So it's like,
yeah, those guys, bastards.
One thing I'll say though, is I just really love the transformation, and them actually using Cyborg as like kind of like the heart of the movie, because in the other movie he's kind of just like. He's kind of like just like a babble, like he's just there. He's like babbling on about like kind of like not wanting to be this person. When this movie, he has like the full arc where he's kind of like, at first grasping with what his dad did to him, and then really diving into that role that he's playing, and
definitely more fleshed out. Yeah,
and just even his backstory.
Thinks he's a monster, and then Wonder Woman tells him he has gifts, that you're not a monster, and then he goes from. The whole arc with his dad and his dad's kind of redemption as well at the end. And maybe that gives him some, I don't want to say peace with his father, but like it confirms like he did love me. He did care about me, so.
There was just, and his backstory kind of showing his mom was cut out of the whole other movie. They didn't even have that scene.
Yeah.
And that's
just kind of like his abilities more too.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then just kind of like, he's seeing how the world works. I mean, obviously, living in it for however long he has up to that point, obviously he's seen some stuff, but then he's really getting the full weight of like kind of this person who's struggling with life and everything that's beating her down. And then, the first thing that he does is, and like kind of remembering what his dad said is like, who do you want to be? Who's the person that you're going to be?
I think I saw somewhere that Zack Snyder said, like in hindsight, there definitely should have been a Cyborg movie before Justice League. But I think it was one of those things where they, like, the studio wants Justice League. They want money. Like, let's cash in. Henry Cavill is hot. Batfleck is, like, he's here. Like let's strike while the iron's hot. And for Zack Snyder to be like, hey, let's delay it another 2.5 years so I can put another movie out. To like, no, fuck that. Make it work, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You're the director. Fit it in.
And then what you mentioned before about like his father, like the redemption and everything, in the in the other movie, his father lived to the end. So this is kind of like a more, his dad's making the ultimate sacrifice. And in that heat of the moment, he had that reference from earlier in the movie about when they heated something else up, and it went to like this nuclear temperature. So him being the genius that he is, he thinks that quickly in the moment. And I'm sure he wanted to put it in there originally and be outside of the box, but because Steppenwolf is there, he has to think on his toes, and ultimately that happens. But yeah, I mean, and even like leading up, you can see Cyborg when he rescues his dad the first time. Like the first time he sees Steppenwolf like lift him up in the air, that's kind of really when it seems like that redemption, and when he's like really forgiving him and he's overprotective of his dad still.
It's one of those things like, listen, I could be pissed at my dad, all right? I got problems with him, but you can't be fucking touching my dad, okay?
Exactly.
That's my dad, not your dad, so fuck off, bro.
Yeah, I can call my family name. No, you can't, though.
Right. Yeah, you don't touch him.
Yeah, you don't fucking touch him, all right?
And I would say, what you're getting out of Zack Snyder. You're getting those vintage, Zack Snyder slow motion scenes. And for me, like, obviously I loved it in 300, but just the Flash, being able to have somebody who goes so fast and then slow it down, and having like the lightning bolts jolting out, for me was so damn satisfying. And I think he had two of like the coolest scenes. The first time when he's rescuing Iris, and then at the end when he's pretty much rescuing the world. Like those scenes to me were so fucking well done. And just like the music in the first scene, when he's rescuing her. And a funny thing that happened with me the first time I watched that was I got really pissed off, like for a split second, when he grabbed the hot dog and put it in his pocket. I was like, in the heat of that moment, I was like, yo, this is so corny. Why is he grabbing a hot dog? And then the full scene plays out and you see him in the corner giving it to the dogs. And it's like this genius thing that he just like trying to get this job, because obviously he doesn't know what's going to happen later. And like, I was just like, oh, this is so stupid. And then it played out and I was like, yo, I'm mad at myself for like judging it that quick, because this shit was hilarious.
I think like those details. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. No, you can go on.
Those details that made it for you, or like as much as they're also for aesthetics, like for the fan base. I don't know if y'all both know that like it's him like tapping into the Speed Force, and something that is really important to that character. And like we said before, how this movie is a bit more fleshed out, and it really did take its time with each like individual character. Mm-hmm. And sure, maybe because Superman and Batman had their own movies, or like they had like their encounters before first. It was
Wonder Woman as well.
Yeah, and they gave the characters that didn't have their movies a bit more like screen time, I felt. And with the Flash and Cyborg, and also like I think even like because this movie was supposed to be, I think sort of took place before Aquaman, they had shown Atlantis and the other characters a bit more, and how his character was tied in more, not just like Bruce Wayne just showing up at the at that place. I don't know which country, but at that area in that bar where he was looking for him. Is not just him showing up, but you see like how sort of Aquaman gets dragged into this. And it was nice to see those details, not just for the wow factor, but for character development.
Well, that's what I think. I don't remember if this is in the Joss Whedon. I'm sorry, version of this.
No, you can mispronounce it.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not trying to disrespect you, but
I will.
you're trying to. You're like, all right, if this is all going on like above the water, and Arthur Curry, like, he has no allegiance to kind of like either. He's like, my people, like you said, those people at those bar that he takes care of, like, those are my people, not people down below, people up, like whatever. But then when they start like dragging away the people from Atlantis, and that to me was a king. Like, he always has it in the back of his mind. You can tell, like, it's planted there. Like, you're the rightful king. At some point, you're gonna have to fucking address this. Now you know that this entity above water is dragging away Atlanteans, and it's like, fuck. Okay, all right, let's cross this bridge, But it just showed like why Atlantis gives a shit, because it is affecting them down there, And a mother box was there, so that I don't remember if that was in the first one.
What? It wasn't. They didn't. I don't even think they showed. What's his name? I think they had Amber Heard, but they didn't have.
They definitely had her, but I don't think they had.
They didn't have Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe wasn't.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So, and being that it was before Aquaman, you didn't really get that like notion that those two knew each other. So if this would have came out in the beginning, this would have been like setting everything up, and it's kind of like the way those two interact at first. It seems like they don't really know each other. But I think that kind of like really propels him into giving a shit, because he's like, he pretty much tells him like, you gotta like kind of go to where Atlantis is, and and then finally when he goes there, I mean, some things like timing obviously lines up perfectly where he's in the area, and now he's like saving or trying to save the mother box without even knowing too much about it. But I think it was cool to have him, because he's such a part of who he was as a story, and like Andreas said, it's these little details that make it better. And what was that? No, you can go.
I was gonna say the one thing that Andreas kind of touched on, it was one of my notes that I wrote down about this, is it's 4 hours, but you're getting like 3 kind of mini intro movies weaved within it.
Yeah.
Where in the Avengers, they fleshed out basically, aside from like Hawkeye and
Black Widow.
Black Widow. Thank you. Everyone kind of already had their established thing, so they could focus that movie more like, all right, this is about Loki. Yeah. We're gonna focus on Loki for the movie, and we're gonna focus on the team elements. We don't have to go into who Thor is and why he does shit, blah blah blah. That's where I thought those movies did that well. Where this is like, he's got to set up like, all right, what happened to Cyborg, why he cares, who the Flash is, what he's doing, his father in jail, his mother dead, all these kind of things. Like he's got to put those in place.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different. It's a different universe, and you can't. I think, it's not cookie cutter, and I think a lot of people were saying that the reason why Whedon's movie, or like his version of it, wasn't, on up to standard, or sort of fell short, was because he was just trying to replicate his template from Marvel, and you can't do that with DC because of how the different approach that DC took, and you can't just do everything the same and sort of cut it like the Avengers movie. And it's a little different in terms of the themes and even the color, like how when I saw like a video of them putting it side by side, it's like the themes of the DC universe are a little darker, and when you try to make things that are a bit more like Marvel, it just looks a little too cartoony and doesn't really impact the audience the same way.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. I think I saw if not the same, a very similar video where they took even like the color palettes and the scenes and how they were like, he brightened everything up and made a lot of color. And the past, there's the movie before that, Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And even Wonder Woman kind of had a similar, I know he didn't direct Wonder Woman, but had a similar kind of vibe, I'm pretty sure the woman, I apologize that I don't know her name, who did that movie, when she like kind of got the role, she kind of, from what I understand, is she went to Zack Snyder and was like, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking for Wonder Woman. How does this go for you?" And he was like, "Oh, that works. That's good. That works with what we're doing. You know, that's exactly kind of what we're going for."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, him and Gal Gadot, I think, have a better, I guess, relationship than,
Yeah, because
Whedon
there was
did.
the whole problem with the Josh Whedon where he wanted to film that scene with the Flash, and she basically said, "No, I'm not doing that." And I think he got like
Yeah.
a stand-in to do it.
Jeez.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I know there was drama. I didn't know what exactly it
Yeah, I
was.
think like I forget if it was like like one of those like haha scenes where I think I forget what exactly was, but the Flash landed on I don't know if it was like the torso of her or like more
Right. Yeah.
down.
I
Well,
think I heard
like
about
her
that
pelvis.
one too.
Yeah, it was like one of those two, and yeah, she just basically denied it, and I think he ended up getting a body double to do it. I don't even remember if it was in the actual movie or if there was like another cutscene or something. I forget.
That's just a
But
shame. Yeah, that
yeah,
like a director like Joss, I didn't, there are always things that happen behind the scenes, and and during production that the audience never finds out. But it just sucks that stuff like this happens.
yeah,
There was one Josh Whedon scene that I liked that I'm gonna give credit for. And
one
actually,
after.
I got reminded from it. I was listening to another podcast called Pod Askew, so shout out them.
Okay, that was actually a dope episode.
Dope podcast. But they were talking about it, and it's one scene where I guess I'm trying to remember correctly because I only saw it in the theaters and never watched it again. But it's Aquaman sitting on the lasso,
Yeah, and he starts.
and he's like, "I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie that I'm scared. Yeah, I'm scared." And he's just like, he's. I thought that was funny, but that was the only thing I can really remember. That was like, oh, okay, yeah.
The one scene that I will say that I enjoyed was Batman was basically like it was kind of that scene where there's first all together talking or trying to defeat Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
And like the Flash is basically like, I don't know what to do. And then Bruce is just like, just save one person. He's like, what? Yeah, just save one person and you'll know. Like kind of like that feeling once you save somebody, because he mentioned, I think earlier that like he's only really pushed people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He hasn't really done any battle, is what the word I think he uses. So I mean that's a cool scene because if you think about it, yeah, this is his first real introduction into any kind of fighting. So
Right.
Yeah.
Thrown right in the deep end.
yeah, and I was a big fan of The Flash as a TV show. So
Yeah, I've always liked the
seeing
Flash
him-
too. Yeah.
seeing him as like a fleshed out character, and I felt like in Josh's version too, he was just kind of like stumbling everywhere.
He
he's
was more like
he
comedic
doesn't-
relief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really felt like the punching bag almost.
Yeah.
He just didn't seem like he was doing anything right. And this movie, he has like 3 or 4 integral parts, and he's the one that really saves the whole world.
Yeah, how can you put like a character that pretty much can reverse time
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
like the most, like I wouldn't say like shitty part of the totem pole, but like this guy can go fast enough to, reverse events, please give him some credit.
yeah, and they still did manage to add some of the comedy with him.
Yeah.
They still
Yeah.
stayed true to that aspect and just enforced everything else about him. And I would say about Aquaman and that they didn't have the full scene of it is right after he saves that one fisherman
Right.
who was out at sea in the storm, and they fully hashed out him leaving the bar and going into the water. That scene is so fucking epic, and the song that they use.
I think it's like Icelandic or something like that song that they're singing. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
No, well that was when he goes into the water after him and Bruce talk to at first.
Oh, what are you talking about?
So that was they were singing, which I actually to credit that scene real quick. I thought that was like a total mood change because it like added just that little extra to that, a little bit of spice on that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about when this scene's also in the other one, but they chose a different way to go about it. So it was right after I think it just cuts to the scene of like a fisherman out on the waters, and it's like rough waters, and his boat is sinking, and then he's like on top of like, you know, the sinking ship, and then it just cuts to like Aquaman like having him on his shoulders, and then he like brings him onto the table, like throws him down, gets a beer. Oh no, he gets a bottle.
He's like, it's on him or something?
Yeah,
like
it's on him.
Yeah.
Walks out, and in the other one, it pretty much just like cuts to like him halfway down the dock, I think, and it's got like a metal song, and it's just like a total different vibe.
He like chugs the bottle and like throws it.
Yeah. So this one, it's got the full him walking, the fucking waves are crashing around him. He crushes a bottle on the floor.
Literally,
and
bro.
Then it goes into a close up of all the water hitting his face, and it's just his eyes, and it's just fully hashed out before it like engulfs him, and it's got a great music choice. The song and whatever the composure of it is just fits the mood. Where I feel like the other one, when I went back to it, I was like, yo, I don't like this scene with this song. Like it was just like a metal. I forget what song it was, but you'll go back and watch it and be like, I think.
Yeah, I think it also just shows like you really gotta have a, I think, connection or some sort of chemistry with your editor and I guess the screenplay, because you can cut the movie, like just a few cuts can really change how the movie is perceived, or like how a scene affects you, and it just totally makes a difference. And sure, not every movie can be 4 hours long. You can't have, you know, I for me this is like, you know, an exception, like a one-off, and it fits like COVID. Everyone can watch it at home, and it's not in the theaters. But you know, to be able to make a movie and to be able to have it like feel full in a concise manner it just shows like, you know, it's a hard thing to do. You gotta know what is important and, you know, what you can cut out.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they, you know, the whole thing trending now is restore the Snyder verse, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the Flash movie is still like confirmed, Flashpoint, where he goes back in time to. I know this has been done like in animated series, I think, or an animated movie, and obviously the comics. I haven't read it, but I'm pretty sure the consensus of Flashpoint is like he does that whole travel back in time thing all the way back to save his mother from dying.
Oh no! Well, like in the show, they touch on that so many times. He changes the timeline so much.
Right, and then like one of the big things was like because he fucks up the timeline, like Bruce Wayne doesn't become Batman. It's his father. It's Thomas Wayne is Batman because of that changes and shit. So I think they said that movie was going to be planned, and it was Ezra Miller, and I saw somewhere that Ben Affleck was now back game to do it, to play his part in it, and the guy to play Thomas Wayne, I forget who they cast, but for a while they said it was going to be the guy, or the name floating around was the guy who played the father from Supernatural, or like Negan from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That guy, he was supposed to play Thomas Wayne becoming Batman.
I feel like he would be a good.
I think they went with someone else though. Anyways, like, so let's say after this, right? You said obviously the 4-hour thing is a lot to do because it is in a sit down. I remember watching Pearl Harbor in theaters, and they put an intermission in there. So like we got up to piss and like all this kind of shit. Like it's a play, you know, or a musical. I'm sorry, either or. So let's say you make it 3 hours. You can cut out just a little bit. So after this, you've had Aquaman after this, right? Then maybe they do Aquaman 2. Then you do Flashpoint. And you've had Wonder Woman 1884. So maybe with all those put in place, you can cut the next one down to 3 hours.
1984. Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't like that movie. I did not like Wonder Woman. It was bad.
I haven't seen it.
I enjoyed the entertainment aspect of it, but I was like, eh.
I think a lot of people say just give Snyder buttload of money and just let him like
Do
produce
everything.
the rest, because
Let him be the
you know.
Kevin Feige kind of
yeah, pretty
this section of
Yeah.
DC.
Film.
You know.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys heard or have heard rumors that, you know how like they have so many different like Batmans, and how like even Robert Pattinson is doing it, and they're seeing like, oh, is he supposed to be the younger Batman? Is he supposed to be someone else? But I think there's a conspiracy or a rumor that there's a whole multiverse thing going around, that you know so that they can do other versions, or combine them somehow. But the excuse or the reason for having different actors play, the same character, is that they're different universe. So
It would make
You know
sense.
how I think his name's, was it Grant Gustin? The guy who plays the Flash on the show, who I think is a really good cast for the
Me
Flash.
too.
That because I think there's was an after credit scene, or no, it was in the TV show. Ezra Miller met him, like in the TV show, somehow, like because they
Really?
they-
I didn't
they-
know that. That's
Yeah.
dope.
So I really enjoyed it. Not to be too off track, but the TV shows. Let me list them off real quick. Supergirl, Flash, Green Arrow. I think even Batwoman, and those they
Is
had
Gotham
a
in that
crossover.
verse? That
No, Gotham.
No.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
It was the other show too that they all had like crossovers.
Yeah, they
Legends
had a
of Tomorrow.
crossover event. Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow. They had a crossover event. They had they crossed
the
over
whole week.
like 4 times.
Yeah, it was like Monday through Thursday, because that's which day each one was on. Every
Yeah.
night there would be a different episode towards
Yeah.
whatever TV show was on that night. It was really cool.
I was on a binge for that, and I just watched the Flash version. And every time there was a crossover, then I would watch the crossovers only.
Yo, same.
Yeah.
Same.
what I just wish like you could just sit like with a panel of like actual, not even like comic book like full blown like nerds, and I don't use that thing like offensively, but like people, not
Right.
even with those people like super deep into it, just like
Yeah.
the casual fan, kind of like what we are here, like where we enjoy this stuff. If you sat with the Warner Brother executives and you're like, well, now we've started Robert Pattinson's. If we ran this and Ben Affleck's Batman, do you think they'd both make money? Would you buy both? And we'd be like, yeah, you could do one in May and you could do one in June, and I'm gonna fucking go to both. I'm gonna buy both tickets.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much. I think it speaks for itself. People are gonna watch the comic book movies. They're gonna. The initial box office is gonna be great because of, it is a comic book movie. That's it, plain and simple. Sure, it might not get the best reviews. People might watch it and say, "Oh shit," whatever. But you're gonna get the money already.
Every time, like, and I understand what your point is there. Like, oh man, if it bombs on the critics or doesn't win awards for this or that. Money talks, bullshit walks. Fast and Furious movies are going to be fucking made until they don't make money. They could give a shit about awards. If these things are bringing in millions and millions and millions of dollars, they will be just okay.
Yeah, you're gonna see me at Fast and Furious 23. I'm gonna be watching it. I don't care how shitty it is. If I'm paying for explosions in IMAX, I'm gonna be paying for explosions.
Fucking
wanna
give
see-
them to me.
I want to see The Rock strong arm a fucking helicopter blade.
Yeah,
Like, just give it to me.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
just to tell a couple other scenes that I was just really big fan of. When they're going around at the, like, trying to talk about like what the mother box is and everything.
Yeah.
When Cyborg's giving that speech and everything, and then the Flash is like, I know we're all thinking it. We're all thinking it right now. I'm not gonna say it. Who's gonna say it? I thought that was hilarious. And then they just put the hologram, and at that point I got chills.
Yeah.
I thought that was just so well done.
He had a great line too, where they were like, he's like, I'm gonna tap into the mother box, and then from the inside break it, and then I just need a charge. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
like, how's he gonna do that? With the power of love.
They're like, Barry. He's like, with a little push, of course. That was really, that was a good line.
That was
too.
great timing on those.
Yeah.
And then I think a major contrast with the other Josh Whedon's version when they're digging up Superman's body. In the other version, it had like more of a racial undertone. I forget exactly what they said, but it touched on race. Whereas this one, Flash is just like, he was my hero, and then it kind of like it's more like solemn. Like I feel like it should be. It's not like kind of like joking.
And then they joking while you're digging up a grave.
They did like poke the little fun at it, like I could have this done in a nanosecond or a millisecond, whatever he said.
Yeah.
How fast he is. But I just didn't like that. I cringed when I went back because I watched it after I watched the Snyder cut. I think like 1.5 times. I was like, let me see what's different, and then I watched that one.
Yeah, I just watched YouTube videos on like what difference there were and what they cut out.
That's what I should have done.
It was you can always rely on those YouTubers to
They'll tell you how it is.
Post that real quick.
Not for nothing though. I think we haven't even like talked about this yet with the whole things of what they've cut out, what they've changed, this and that. Fucking, they left Darkseid out of the entire Josh Whedon movie.
Yeah.
They left like, bro.
Yeah.
I think
and I think that's,
what are you doing?
My favorite part was for me, my favorite part was the flashback of the first war that everyone had, because you saw Green Lantern.
The golden age of heroes.
Yeah.
And,
yep.
Yeah.
You see the Green Lantern and all that shit.
Yeah.
I thought, that was sick.
I saw somewhere, I don't know if it was on a YouTube video or a podcast where that Green Lantern scene. I'm not I've watched Green Lantern as a cartoon like growing up, but I'm not like deep into the whole like lore and history and stuff. But there's a scene that they work. There's so many little details in this, which is why it's fucking great.
Yeah.
When Darkseid or Euxis or whatever his name is at the time, fucking Big Head cuts the hand off of the Green Lantern. The ring, it's supposed to go to someone with the greatest like willpower or greatest intent or something like that.
Yeah.
And it floats towards
right near him.
Right to him, and then it realizes that he's evil, and then it floats away.
Yeah, it's like, nah.
It's like very quick, and if you're not paying attention, you miss it.
And then you see him try to like kind of almost grasp at it, but it's just out of his.
And I thought it was great that like showing like similar things, like where Steppenwolf goes to hit and it blocks Superman in the shoulder. Superman blocks with the shoulder. Is the same thing that Ares hit Darkseid with in the shoulder with the axe.
For me, that was too much of a coincidence with
not impressed.
Thanos. I was like, well, I mean,
oh, you mean like with Thor?
Yeah, the way that it hit, I was like, ooh, that was just a little too similar. But I mean, I'm not gonna, bash on it for that. But it was like, all right, it's like, he also got his head chopped off too. So
yeah, I think even that ending of how he died was sick. But I even think like Steppenwolf looked a lot better in this movie and sounded better.
Yes.
The other movie was just annoying.
Yeah.
It also gives the reason, kind of like one, it explains in the beginning, the bell has been rung. They say that line, and you're like, okay, like Superman died, but like, oh, it was his death scream was a sonic boom that went out into the universe, so everyone knows the Kryptonian's dead. And then he gets here, and he's like, there's no Kryptonians, there's no lanterns. So right there, you're like, oh, okay, he avoids these guys for a reason.
Yeah.
Because he can't compete with them. And then you're like,
yeah.
Oh, okay, it builds onto the story.
And then just the fact that you actually use the anti-gravity matter in this movie. The other movie, I don't think they even touch on it. And that's just
the
like
anti-life matter.
Yeah, the
anti-life equation or whatever.
Yeah, that thing is like so huge and like in that, I guess, DC.
You want to know the theory that I stumbled on? I think it was on Reddit or somewhere I saw. Is that they think where that is in how do you pronounce it? Midisquera, where the Amazons live. which is why he like couldn't find it, because one, that's hidden now, and that's why Steppenwolf never found it while he was there, because it's hidden, and that's the theory, is that's where that equation, that shit is all laid out.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's true. It's just someone's speculation.
Okay.
Cool.
But
I didn't know
overall, I gave this thing like a fucking 9 out of 10. Like I loved it.
Yeah. Me too. That's why I watch it so much. I'll just put it on in the background. I'm like, fuck it. I got other shit to do. And then just those
9.5 out of 10 for Chris, or
I'll give it 10 out of 10.
Woo!
10,
I'll ring that bell.
10. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
I'd give it probably like a. For me, it's more a little 8 out of 10 for me. I think for me I've seen better, but it's good. It's good. It's good. I think if anything, the points that dropped for me is the overuse of the soundtrack for Wonder Woman.
Yes,
I know there are a lot of memes about that. It's like, all right, you don't need to play it again. I've heard it. Okay, I know Wonder Woman's coming.
What happens if you just like pass Gal Gadot and it's just playing?
It's like every time Gal Gadot's on screen, you hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to have it on hand. Just play it on your phone. Just walk by, like you know where she is, you know where the press is, and she's watch her as she walks down the red carpet and just play it.
It's not even paparazzi anymore. It's just people playing the soundtrack. They have their own name now and just start playing it in the background. Nobody's taking pictures anymore. It just turns into its own meme.
Yep. But I guess final note from me about it, just I think I like the after credits scene. Was it after credits, or when they had like
scene?
the apocalypse scene?
Yeah.
That was nice. That was a nice touch.
Is that called like the epilogue, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
what he titled it?
Yeah.
as?
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, that whole like dream sequence or whatever that is, it just made no sense in the first, like starting the movie off. Like I was so confused the first time I watched that. But like this,
it started the movie off on the first Justice League, or was that in Batman vs Superman?
There's parts of it in Batman vs Superman.
It's both.
And there's the part, I think, in Batman vs Superman where like he's sitting in the chair and Barry Allen comes out of nowhere, and you're like, what the fuck is even going on? Like there's no context to what this is.
But that's also.
But now you understand that's Barry running back in time. That's what that is there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
they also said that where they said Lois Lane is the key.
Yeah.
They said that this, like you call it a dream sequence, that this is the actual, that would be the second movie.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is Batman is now evil.
No, it's the nightmare sequence or whatever it is.
Yeah. That they're trying to get to. I guess in the Flash, there's this thing like a treadmill that he can run on, which is how he goes back in time.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. Is they're trying to get to that. That's where that scene is that they're like trying to get to that treadmill at the end of Justice League.
Well, you also hear them alluding to the fact that Lois is dead. So
yeah,
and that's
why.
Well,
that go back in time.
Yeah,
that turns Superman like into
bad.
Yeah, bad mode. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how they play it out.
Hopefully they get another one, and I think that's the thing too. Like I felt like the other one, it was like bring out the big guns, and it was Lois Lane. I just felt like that was too forced. Whereas this one is like she's going to like his memorial like every day, so she has reason to be there.
Right,
and then she's going home, and she sees him, so then she goes to where he is. So to me, that made a lot of sense.
Even if she doesn't see him, let's say there's the commotion. There's Superman and Wonder, like all of the Justice League. They're not named that, but they're all fighting at the memorial right now. Shit's going down in Metropolis. You know?
She's gonna be there.
Let me go see what it is.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit too. Maybe I was just too impatient, or I just didn't. It didn't do it for me. But I understand its character development, but the sappy scenes with Lois Lane just like looking, like just like depressed. I mean, it was okay for a bit, but when they cut to it too many times for me, it got me a little bored. But I can
You're like, we
understand,
get
you know,
it.
yeah, it's part of the development of the character.
Hey there, everybody. It's Stevie B from Got a Lot in Our Minds. Due to technical difficulties, we had to record this podcast in 2 separate parts. So right now is your slight intermission. I just want to say to all, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing and downloading and interacting with us. And we appreciate you all. We would like to include the audience in every single way that we can within this podcast. So please reach out to us through social media, in person. If you know us personally, feel free to hit us up. We love the audience that's growing with this podcast, and we want to include you every step of the way. Again, thank you for listening, and here's part 2.
Record again, sync clap, take 2. All right. Sorry everybody for the technical difficulties of a amateur audio guy. We should just stick with operating cameras.
Amateur hour at the Apollo.
Yeah,
You're
pretty
fine.
much.
We're all
fine.
good. We're all good.
We've all been there.
All right, Stevie B, continue with the next movie.
I was going to say, we were diving into another HBO Max kind of, not exclusive, but release, and was Godzilla vs. Kong. You know,
Which has been a year also in the making of when it was supposed to drop. So everybody's been anticipating this for fucking a whole year.
And with this one, like, I was talking with my manager at work about it, and he's like, I was like, oh, did you watch it this weekend? Because he's a big, like, him and his son are really into movies. And I was like, did you see it? He's like, no, I haven't watched it yet, but, you know, we might try to watch it and this and that. And he's like, what'd you think? I said, well, I liked it. I said, but I'm going to give you this. If you're going in thinking you're going to get a classic three-act movie with the rising action, which it still kind of has, and the climax and the denouement, whatever you call it, and the fleshed out characters and the soliloquy and like a really, really great acting performance.
No, well,
No.
I might disagree with you on something, but go on.
If you're checking out of real life and you're watching a huge lizard fight a huge ape and you're rooting for one of them, you're gonna have a fucking ball.
Yeah, no. What I'll say real quick is I'll disagree with. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's like written like fucking Tenet, you know, where you have to be in depth. But I think at least 3 of the characters portrayed their character fucking flawlessly, and that was Bernie, Eileen, and Jaya. I think that's how you say her name. I don't know, the little girl. But those 3, I think, acted very well.
The deaf one?
Yes, the deaf.
She's
girl.
actually deaf too.
No, yeah, I know. That's why I thought it was fucking awesome. But I think, I think like their actions and like facial features and body language was very believable in the sense, and especially like Eileen when
is that
the main chick, her name's Rebecca Hall.
Oh, okay. I was thinking
The Kong Whisperer?
Yes.
Right, okay.
So her character, I felt like when she's interacting with Jaya, it just, I don't know, it just felt so authentic to me. And as far as like an acting and like, you know, how this chemistry on screen, that's something that I look for a lot. And maybe it's not the best lines, but I enjoyed those 3. And Bernie I thought was fucking hilarious.
Bernie's the dude with the podcast, right?
Yeah, the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, he was actually really funny.
He was funny. I like the one scene when when like him and Millie Bob, or what's her, fuck, is it
Millie Bobby Brown?
Yeah. when
11.
When they're like, when they popped up into that one booth and they're like trying to hack into the computer or whatever, and then he turns and like the security lady like sees him and he's like, no, we're just, and he, I don't know, it just, for me, it was dope. It was funny. And he had just a couple.
I like
of
the
scenes.
tap water quote.
Yes, that too.
Like, all right, tap water.
Yeah.
I was like, God.
She's like, well, she can think for herself, so I don't really care about you.
Yeah.
But I know, Steve, you were rooting for King Kong. So did you have were you let down when, you know, that scene transpired and Godzilla's got his foot on his chest?
I know they said like at first there was gonna be like a clear winner, which there was. It was Godzilla,
yeah,
which makes sense.
because you want to use him possibly.
Yeah, but I was a little let down that Kong was like, I was like, ah man, I was hoping Kong somehow. I knew he wasn't gonna
It's Godzilla.
like Godzilla's the fucking cash cow.
He's
He's
the
not gonna
franchise.
lose, you know. Yeah, like that's the franchise player. But I thought it was cool that Kong like, you know, redeemed himself and redeemed himself.
Yes,
wow,
redeemed.
There it is, English language.
Redempted himself.
Redempted himself.
Redempted.
And-
I'll take redempted over redeemed.
Yeah.
Thank you. And just like shredded that fucking Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah.
As soon as Mecha Godzilla came out, I was like, well,
Yeah.
this is predictable.
Yeah, you knew they were gonna team up and just fucking beat the shit.
Well, that's
out
what
of
they
him.
said. There's going to be the Martha moment from like Batman and Superman. You
Oh
know?
my God, your name's Martha? My mom's name is Martha. Are we best friends? Yeah, you want to go
Yup.
kick this guy's ass? Yup.
Yup.
It was like, I mean, like I already came into it. I was like, you know, I'm gonna watch this movie because you know I want to see a couple giant monsters like fight each other, and you know, to me, you know, I don't go in with high expectations, but
Okay,
you know, the action sequences, the King Kong fighting, like fucking MMA over here. I was like, damn, there's a super punch over
Yeah.
here, and you know when he was like wielding the axe, I was like, that's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
enjoyed those parts.
out of all of that, I definitely agree. I think, I'm not gonna lie, I think this movie was a lot different than I anticipated. Like, I didn't think there was gonna be a story going to the center of the fucking earth. Like, who in their right mind would have thought that, you know?
I was kind of caught off guard by that too, but I was like, you know what?
I
It's
don't
kinda
hate
cool.
it though. Yeah, exactly. I didn't hate it,
you
and
know?
it had like that inner Inception, like kind of where the, you know, you see like mountains on the ceiling and the inversion, kind of how it looked in a sense.
Yeah, it looks like you're living in a tube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think there was a lot of things that I definitely did like, and going into it and hearing the rumors that there was going to be a third monster, I was kind of like, you know, the other movie had the skull, so I thought they were hinting at Mecha King Ghidorah. So I was like, oh, maybe it'll be that. And then I think like a week or two before, I kind of stumbled upon, like, not even doing it, but it was just like Mecha Godzilla, and I was like, oh shit, they're going that route.
I mean, I'm not like a super fan or anything, but I already like I guess when I saw it, I was like, oh, this it is a reference to like when like old Godzilla movies were out. This was like an original character from, you know, like an old Godzilla movie.
No,
They
yeah.
do, yeah. So like I didn't know about it, but I was like, you know, I've seen references to like you know, a robot version of Godzilla,
So
but I didn't know what it was called.
I'm a big Godzilla fan. I used to watch like all of the old movies growing up. I had the toys, so I had like the Mecha King Ghidorah and the Mecha Godzilla. I wasn't the biggest fan of how he looked in as a whole. And like if you look back at what he looked like, I mean, now it looks corny. Back then it looked fucking sick. Obviously growing up, you know, graphics and everything. I kind of like the fuller face. This one, it kind of obviously, it seemed like they were still in the production phase and they were just pushing it out. So maybe it would have gotten fully hashed out if they, you know. But I mean, I like the fighting sequences were pretty badass. So I'd kind of like put that to the side.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was always looking for like what monster are they gonna do, because I hated the Mutos and some of the other ones in the other movie, because it really wasn't tying back to the original, and I don't know if they have all the rights to all the monsters. So for me,
I was waiting for them to call him King Kong
That-
because the way he sat on that throne.
it was actually funny
I was like-
because they kind of, I felt like they gave him a lot of human aspects. Obviously he gets up, stretches out, scratches his ass. It's
Yeah.
actually funny because everybody memed him out how thick with 2 C's Kong was.
He's double cheeked up out here,
Double
man.
cheeked up. He's got the
my-
fucking dump truck.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But
The one thing I will say is that, what would you say her name was? The little girl? Like,
it's It's JIA, so I don't know how it's pronounced. Her name is Haley.
Bro, they're fucking gonna call
Huddle?
CPS. Like, the amount of fucking dangerous places they took this little kid.
Oh,
Like, Jesus Christ. They're like, when they got back from the center of the earth and they're still flying around with her, I'm like, land the fucking plane and get the girl out of the air. What are you doing?
I mean,
Why are you still flying around?
That was
Kong doesn't give a shit anymore. He's fighting.
yeah, that was one critique I had. I hate when they just make it like a spaceship or something go so close to it just for like the exhilarating, like, oh, we're just nearly escaping death. Like, I mean, I get it, but you didn't have to get that close to Kong. You didn't have to go through a fucking building. You didn't have to get that close.
Yeah.
You're like 2 feet away from fire that is probably so hot it's melting. Well, they were actually in a special vehicle, so that probably was fine. But you're just that close to Godzilla where if he goes like this by accident because he sees something flying past his head, you're dead. Like, that kind of stuff kind of pisses me off. It's more of like a convenience thing and like shock value.
Yeah, I think I've given up, like, you know, being that movie guy that shouts at the screen. He's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
because it happens so
Godzilla
often.
doesn't make sense. Like,
No,
King Kong doesn't make sense.
You know, a 700-foot fucking lizard makes sense, but flying past that much close.
I'm just.
That's where I draw the line.
Like Fast and Furious. I'm there for explosions.
Yeah.
You know, I'm there to watch the big fight. You know.
That's literally how I pitched it. I'm like, you're there for the giant lizard fighting the giant ape, and you get everything else. Like, that's what you're not.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're not there for.
You're not there for two fucking giant things fighting on an aircraft that probably can't hold them. You know,
I'm not there to see fucking Godzilla deliver a soliloquy and fucking Kong's rebuttal.
Yeah.
No, I'm there to see them beat the shit out of each other.
And they did
multiple times.
They did deliver on that aspect. There was a lot of shit.
They did beat the shit.
They
out of
beat
each
the
other.
shit out of each other.
Little fun fact. One thing that I enjoyed probably a bit more than others, maybe internationally, not so like people in Hong Kong, because I grew up there.
Okay.
The city that they fucking wrecked to shit. I grew up there, so like I was like, oh, that's the street where I used to walk and go to that computer cafe. Oh, that's the street where I used to eat at, or that's the building I went up that they just fucking chopped in half. So
that was a completely different experience for you.
You had that emotional connection. That's dope.
yeah. I was like, I know that building. That's like where everything went down. That's like,
You're like, yeah, I'm glad
That's
they
like
fucked
the-
up that place, but this one, keep that
yeah,
one.
fuck that. That was like the downtown Manhattan. That was like Midtown Manhattan of Hong Kong. So where he climbed up, it was like, oh, I guess that's sort of like a reference to if he climbed up, when he climbed up Empire State Building.
Right.
That building was like Hong Kong Empire State Building. That's sort of like a little reference there.
And this was the first time they took this version of Godzilla into Hong Kong too. That was I read that was a big thing, that this version of Godzilla is the first time you're seeing him in Hong Kong. So
Well, usually they're fucking up Tokyo, right?
Yeah,
In the old
fucking up
movies.
Tokyo.
In the other movie, they're like in front of like a fucking building that they're just like trying to like get around each other, and they're just not doing anything, and it's just so funny to watch it
nothing.
now. And
I
they're
guess
just like
in the
pushing
first
it.
one, I saw this
It's
in
men
YouTube.
in suits.
The first one, the men in suits, the old like shitty
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
not
yeah.
shitty, but like classic ones, I guess you're talking about.
Yeah, it's guys in suits.
He like rams a tree down Godzilla's mouth.
Yeah, he starts trying to
And in this one, they referenced it because he
Yeah.
goes to do the beam and he shoves the axe down his
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, woo!
We get it. Shock value. I love it. I thought it was funny because they also like kind of showed Kong's smarts when he's up on top of that building and he throws the what he had in his hand to make the distraction. And Godzilla looks up and then he jumps on his back. So he kind of just used that like as a.
Was it the crane? Was it the crane he threw?
Yeah, I think he threw a crane. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
I enjoyed the one part where they're transporting him on the boat, and like you would think, all right, this 400-foot tall gorilla, you like, how could this thing ever be vulnerable? Like, it would crush it. And they do such a great job, I think, in that sequence where you're realizing how vulnerable Kong is out in the water.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And
I thought that was
that
like
was
if they didn't like save him, or if there were no weapons on those ships, he's fucked. He's done. It's like it's unfair advantage.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and I think that's kind of like that's the scene that really grasped me with their acting too, because I don't know, even besides Kong, you see like them being vulnerable, and learning that he can and sign, and that was just something that like really, like the way they looked at each other and stuff, and like she, what's her name, Rebecca Hall's character was just like really surprised in that moment, and just a facial, like it kind of hit me with how they played it out, and I thought Jai did a fucking crazy job. Just like there was so many scenes of her just like looking off into space that just looked so epic, and
yeah, they're hiring her for other stuff now. That definitely like boosted her portfolio.
I would say like out of all the three, these were the best characters that they've had too. Like the other ones, it was more like they're just kind of there, and like the dialogue and everything, and I just hated that they had some of the interactions, where this one I was fine with the interactions, having the human interactions. And then some of the other Godzilla movies, they would like start a fight and then cut to back to like the love story, or cut back to like them talking.
Right.
And they didn't show the full-fleshed attacks and fighting and stuff. And it was like, why the fuck are you doing this? I don't care about the humans in this movie. I don't. Don't show me any of them. I don't care.
Specifically at this moment.
Yeah.
One thing real quick between like these movies, it was this one and the one before it.
Mm-hmm. King of Monsters.
Yeah.
Or the regular
is the
Godzilla.
father to 11.
Mm-hmm.
He always talks like this.
He almost like
He's
Batman.
always whispering.
He's always
talking like this.
Yeah, that's his voice.
He's like a character actor. I've seen him be secondary to everybody all the time. I've never really seen him
in a leading role.
Hey, when you're good at something, keep doing it, right?
Right.
I guess.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But yeah, him. I feel like he's always like I don't care for his character, so I was glad that they showed him in the minimal amount. But everybody else was good.
Now Bryan Cranston, I felt for him.
Yes. They had the.
Well, I mean, like Bryan Cranston's Bryan Cranston. I felt like he was just in that movie to fuck around. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
I got some.
Oh, you want me in there for 10 minutes? Sure, yeah, I got you.
I'm not cooking meth anymore. Let's do it.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah. I actually just finished watching that over again, but that's for another time.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think it hit a lot of the boxes. I won't say it was like a perfect movie for me.
Well,
for an action movie, I
it
enjoyed
is.
it.
Yeah. It gave you the satisfaction of the fights and everything that I wanted.
Did you find it a little ironic that Tarzan was also in this movie? Skarsgård, the guy who was piloting the plane, who they hired to lead the mission.
Okay.
He's the new Tarzan, like a while back. I think like 3-4 years back.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Wow.
Yeah, his dad, his whole family pretty much are in Hollywood. His dad is the guy who played the scientist in Thor. The guy who gets like brainwashed by Loki.
Yeah.
And his I think younger brother is the clown from the new It.
Oh.
Pennywise.
So, yeah, Pennywise. Yeah. So his whole family's in there.
Yeah. I think, what do you call it? What was I gonna go with that? I don't know. You guys keep talking. Oh no, sorry. The funny thing about these two movies is like there has been, like you said earlier, with this restore the Snyderverse. Now everybody's calling for the MonsterVerse, and they want more monster movies with this because there's so many other monsters that Godzilla could fight. Or if they eventually have, being that they didn't kill off one of these characters, they could always, hey buddy, I need your help for something. Let's go team up and fuck somebody else up. But
get me Kong,
right? So just call up the phone. I thought it was funny because like I think one thing that just really like I would like to see is like how the fuck they got Kong into that observatory on Skull Island. Like, he didn't just go willingly to, that's my thought, but maybe the girl convinced him, but he like, you wake up he wakes
Bro, the
up
same
and it's
way-
like,
The same way they got him in the helicopters. They probably sedated the shit out of him.
yeah, but I want to see that.
And-
I want to know.
Well,
I don't know for sure if
Then
they
they
did
did
that.
their job. They got another movie in the works now.
Yeah,
they got some material there to
I need
work with.
Kong.
I kind of wish I watched this movie in IMAX. There are just
Yes.
certain movies you
Yeah.
need to watch in IMAX, and it sucks. It's COVID, but I think theaters, in New York State are open now, right?
Yeah.
They're
No, you
Yeah,
could
they
have
just
seen
opened.
it.
Yeah.
I believe.
yeah. I if I had some, if there's like, I don't know, a third stimmy check, give me some of that, and I'll go to the theater and rewatch it again.
Fucking rent out a whole AMC theater. I think you could still do that. It's like $100.
Yeah, it's really not that expensive.
Yeah.
100 something.
$100, 20 people, and like that's nothing. Or maybe 200, whatever.
I'll do
Either
it.
way, it's not a lot. To rent out a whole
If you
fucking
split
movie
it
theater.
between. Yeah. Yeah, we should do it. Just three of us.
Yeah,
Just
right.
go to a movie theater.
That's how we'll film
just-
the episode from in there.
Yeah. We'll make a podcast while watching a movie.
Yeah, after the movie, I was just like, here's a 20. Just give us like.
Just keep the lights on
hour
and
in here.
yeah.
Yeah, just keep the
Give us
lights
an
on.
hour.
Yeah. Plus, it'll be soundproof ish.
Oh yeah, it'd be all right. So I mean, for that one, I give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Again, I get grading on the context of, I don't grade Kong or Godzilla vs Kong versus like Tenet or The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
I grade it against other movies of its kind of like genre. So I guess I give it more of like a 7.5 to an 8. You know,
I'm going with an 8
For an
as
action
well.
movie. Yeah, 7 for me for an action movie in its league of just as an action movie, as a
right,
for entertainment value.
right. I mean, if you put it against the fucking Green Mile, the thing's like a 6 or a 5, 4.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't grade those type of movies against the other type of movies.
It's not an intellectual movie. It's just
Yeah.
let me see, like you said earlier, a monkey fight a fucking lizard. That's something that I was very surprised with too, because a lot of the other movies, Godzilla's he's pretty much like lackadaisical, hit you every now and then. Whereas this one, he's quick as shit. Like he's fucking scurrying. He's hitting you with those claws. He's swatting the jets out of the air with his tail bad quick. Like he was doing the most.
Yeah.
He looked like he was on fucking speed.
Yeah, he was fucking shit up. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's cool because like to fight Kong, I feel like you need that quickness, or else he's just gonna keep getting fucking punched or choked out. He tried to put Godzilla in a fucking chokehold.
Yeah. I was like,
I was like,
come
yo,
on,
he's
throw
about to
some
make
MMA in there.
he's about to
Come on,
make Godzilla tap.
Do it guilty.
Godzilla's gonna tap.
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Fucking close. Shh. It's all over. It's all over. It's all over.
You're gonna see Godzilla versus Kong 2. And you just gonna get him into that full chokehold, and Godzilla's just gonna fall asleep. It's gonna be over 10 minutes. Imagine
I think if there was another one, I think they would cater more towards Kong, because you said about his smarts and his wits.
yeah.
You would think like now he'd be like, all right, I'm gonna set a trap. Like obviously I can't fight him by water, because even when he was on land, we were still kind of like by the ocean or the bay or whatever body of water that right next to there. Like we can't have him by water. So you'd think Kong would set up like, I need to get him the way Batman did with Superman. Like I got to get you to a place where you're vulnerable now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, like when he was on that ship, you didn't really have a choice. They shipped him.
Motherfuckers.
They painted him into a corner.
Motherfuckers. Yeah, he's on water.
If he
where
could talk, he was like, "Come on, guys. Come on, guys."
Godzilla
like,
has
you did me dirty here.
right. I can't swim.
Yeah.
I can't
At
hold my
least,
breath
like,
like Godzilla.
At least let me try to knock him out and like so we can get the fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah.
What do you boys think the total damage was on Hong Kong?
oh Lord.
That thing's leveled, dude.
Over
You're
and under.
resetting. That's
Over under. What's the property damage?
I enough to feed Africa for like lifetime.
No, we are
Oh my
farmers.
goodness.
Bum, bum,
Bum,
bum,
bum,
bum.
bum, bum,
Oh
bum,
my.
bum.
Yeah, so
It
do you guys
was-
cover Godzilla stepping on my car? Yeah, nah. It's a no from us.
Nah. We got a strict Godzilla clause, bro.
Yeah.
That's done, dude. Like I don't know. that's when if you're asking me those like like realistic questions, that's
Yeah.
like that city's done for years.
5 billion.
Just set it back a decade. More than that.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah, you had fucking
It's like-
skyscrapers coming down.
Well, we're canceling
yeah. It's
all
like
arts
what
programs
happens
for schools.
after the snap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We need every public dollar we can get.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like after the snap in Avengers. Like what happens after that?
Yeah.
Like it's completely reset mode for them. But it's a great thing about these movies, right? It's a movie. You don't have to think about that.
Yeah, I always ask myself
Maybe
the
in
tough
the movie-
questions. I gotta know. I gotta put a price tag on it.
Yeah.
Here's a problem.
I have a problem. Think about the details of the movie.
So we're at about a minute and 20 minutes.
Yeah,
A minute and 20 minutes. Yeah, that's good.
That makes
An
no
hour and
sense.
20 minutes on my end.
Okay.
So is there any last closing thoughts you gentlemen have?
Yes.
Good choices on action movies, I say. I enjoyed like going through them.
It kind of happened to work out very well that like in the span of 2 weeks they both dropped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mortal Kombat's coming out soon.
About
Too.
to say Mortal Kombat's the next one and that looks pretty sick.
That
I'm excited for that.
that trailer got me some goosebumps though.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I'm excited to have a background that's not going to be waving in the wind.
So, all right. Andreas, I want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time and expertise.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Yeah.
It was another good
No expertise over here. Just
Another good
just
episode.
shit-talking over here on mine.
that's exactly what I'm doing. That's what we're here
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
We got no
Yeah.
credentials, so we got to just shit talk.
Yeah. So everyone, thank you if
Yeah,
you've
couldn't
been
agree more.
listening. Thank you for listening. Tune in next time for the review of Mortal Kombat, will there be more movies on the horizon? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
Love it. Thanks, guys.
Andreas, peace and grace. Thank you.
Peace.
Deuces.